all better when I'm feeling sad. Tell me that I'm special even when I know I'm not. Make it feel good when it hurts so bad. Barely getting mad, I'm so glad I found you. I love being around you. You make it easy.
My first impression of Nidhal was that she was hot. I was bartending at a club in Detroit, and I was still going through my phase where, you know, lots of girls, and I was like, wow, she's really hot. And then she sort of walked away real quick. I didn't see her. It was just a 3-second little glimpse type thing.
My first impressions of Matt were, I walked into the bar, and I remember I was standing there with my girlfriends, and he was working, so he was behind the bar. And the room sort of separated. There was a few people that moved to the side, and I saw him, and everything moved in slow motion for me. And it was love at first sight for me. I know it wasn't for Matt.
So I was kind of had my eye out for her the rest of the night, but I had never seen her before. I didn't know where she went, so that was it.
The next couple weeks, I still visited that bar, but I stayed away from him for the most part. But my first impression was that I thought I loved him. I actually went home and told my roommate that I lived with at the time that I just saw the boy that I fell in love with. That is it.
Nidhal absolutely made the first move. I believe her opening line was, and in her defense, she was going through a phase.
Back then, I was a little bit gutsier than I am now. I was newly single and didn't have a care in the world, and didn't know if this was going anywhere, so I figured I would just go for it. So it was Halloween, actually. There was a Halloween party going on, so I was dressed as a devil, and Matt was dressed as an army guy, and I went up to him and I said,
"So when's our first kiss gonna be?"
That was my opening line. I know, it's good, isn't it? And and he said, "How about right now?" And I said, "Okay, where?" And he said, "Meet me at the end of the bar." So I met him at the end of the bar. We kissed, and when we were done, he said, "You might want to go check your face." His army makeup was smeared all over my face, so I had to go clean myself up.
Which is probably not the most romantic thing in the world, but it certainly got my attention. And, you know, we were in a bar and we were both going through our phase, so it was great.
Matt and I eventually ended up together 2 years after we first met. When we first met, we had our kiss, and I would go to the bar often, but for the most part, he wasn't the nicest person to me. He wasn't ready when we met. He was 21, so he was young. So he would make dates with me and stand me up, or he would call me and not show up, or we'd talk, once a month.
I was a little bit flaky. Sort of would call her and then not call her, and then tell her how much I wanted to see her, and then not see her for a week or two.
Matt suggested that we hang out, and I said, okay, where do you live? We'll get together and hang out. We found out we lived on the same street. So during this 2-year period that he was being mean and not answering the phone and everything else, I knew he was home because I could see his car in the driveway.
But all that changed when I when I crashed and I got really sick, and I was in the hospital for many months, 3-4 months, and when I got out, she visited me in the hospital, even though I barely knew her.
I had gone out with one of my friends and ran into someone that had worked with him previously, and somehow he started telling me that Matt was in the hospital. I asked him which hospital, because even though he was mean, I still cared for him as a person at that point, and I took a care package over. I brought some magazines and some socks and different things, and a little note with a little dog, like stuffed dog that we still have actually. And I brought that to him and just said, hey, I'm here for you if you need me. Me and my friend Chrissy, who's actually my bridesmaid, broke into a hospital once after hours. They weren't gonna let us in, but we made our way through, ran up the stairs, dropped off another care package. So I was doing that periodically. And eventually he started to let me come and visit, and met his mom at the hospital for the first time. And she asked him who I was. Who's the sweet girl that's bringing you packages? And he said, oh, she's just a friend. And eventually from there, I started coming and playing Monopoly with him and bringing things to keep him busy and keep his mind off of him being in the hospital for so long.
And when I got out, she just, I don't know, she just became my nurse. I just started falling in love with her. I mean, it took time, but she was just there for me every day. This girl that I didn't even really know, didn't have any connection with. She was taking me out to eat, you know, taking me to the mall just so I could get some exercise and walk because I couldn't really do anything. She would bring me magazines and games to play, and she was just, I don't know, she made me fall in love with her, you know? I definitely wasn't looking for it. But I woke up one day and I was just like, there she is.
Someone that you can't hold when all your faith is gone. It feels like you can't go home. Let it be me. Let it.
We've actually known each other for 7 years, but have been together for 5 now. And a year after we met, Matt heard from God and realized he needed to be in Chicago.
She said it was, you know, love at first sight. Who knows? I was in the process of falling in love with her just through my recovery and everything that had been going on. And at that time, I was contemplating a move to Chicago to pursue acting and modeling and just some other things in life. And so it was sort of put us at a crossroads where I thought that, you know, I really loved her and, you know, I wasn't sure, we just weren't sure where the relationship was, but I was going. I knew that. I knew I was going.
And he knew that that's where God wanted him, and I knew that God wanted me with Matt. So if he was going to Chicago, I was going to Chicago as well. So we packed everything, and everyone told us we were crazy because we had no money, but we had faith, and we knew that God was going to take care of us. If that's where he wanted us, we were going to be okay.
And so, you know, we just kind of had the talk, and I was like, you know, will you come with me? And she just, no hesitation, just, she was there. So I think that officially started it.
Your lipstick stains on the front lobe of my left side brains. I knew I wouldn't forget you.
The proposal. The proposal actually did not surprise me. I kind of knew it was coming, and the reason I knew it was coming is because we had gone to Paris, France, a week before he proposed, and he was disappearing a lot and talking to my sister a lot. And I'd call him and say, where are you? You know, where have you been for the last 3 hours? And he'd, oh, I had some errands to run. I was at the bank and, went to the post office. And then the next day he'd be gone for 3 hours. And I'm like, where are you? And he's like, oh, I went to the bank. And I'm like, okay, you don't have that much money. You don't need to be at the bank for 2 days in a row for 3 hours. Like, something is weird. So I kind of figured he might be proposing in Paris. And it never came. So on the way back, I said, oh, I was wrong about all that. Maybe he was at the post office. So then when I got back, I had to go to Dallas for a work trip. And I came back that Wednesday, and he said, you know, do you want to go on a date? And I said, okay. And I was tired, exhausted. I looked awful. So we go, and I said, where are we going? He said, it's a surprise. So at that point, I knew he was proposing.
I proposed to Nidhal on a cliff in Malibu. Really secluded, you know, 50-foot drop off to the waves coming up. Laid out a blanket, some candles, you know, had wine and cheese or whatever else. And I was getting ready to get the ring, which was in the picnic basket. It was a good 10 feet away from where our blanket was. And I'm getting ready, I'm like, okay, this is the moment. And she asks, so why do you want to marry me? And I didn't know if I should say, oh, hold on, let me go get the ring, and then, oh, this is why. I didn't really know what to do because she kind of caught me off guard. It's one of those, why do you love me questions.
You know, we're having deep conversations, so I figured he could list all the reasons he loved me. So he started to, and then he says, hold on.
And so I answered it all, and then I'm like, okay, do I get the ring now? Because it's going to be stupid to say a whole speech that was just the same thing over again later. So I got the ring and I proposed. I got down on one knee and
of course, you know, as a girl, you think you're gonna cry and it's gonna be this amazing romantic movie-like experience. But of course, I laughed hysterically at him.
And then she asked,
can we afford that? And he's staring at me waiting for an answer. So I need to know what it costs before I say okay, because this could potentially, you know, ruin our life. And so I'm like, how much does this cost? And can we afford it? And where did you get it? And is it real?
And then she told me I was taking it back. And, you know, I assumed that it meant I was taking it back because it was too expensive, but you never know. So I was like, so is there a yes coming anytime soon? And she eventually said yes, and we celebrated and all that. But it was wonderful, but it was not what I had expected. But we have the whole thing on tape, so maybe we'll put it online someday. So I think I've behaved most of this interview. I've not done anything goofy per my instructions from the boss. And you know, I just want to tell her how excited I am to marry her, how lucky I feel that I get to spend every day with her. I think maybe she didn't get the proposal she's dreaming of, but I just wanted to tell her right now that I would marry her in a second. I love her so much.
Matt is the most patient, amazing man I've ever met, and I'm super excited to be married to him. And he's been so helpful during this whole wedding planning and is absolutely my rock day in and day out. And I love you. Can't wait to marry you.
Tonight. Right.
Something's moving.
Is it big?
Looks like some type of rodent. I proposed to Nidhal.
We did, and he had hidden a video camera underneath some, what is that stuff in the ocean? I don't know. Seaweed. Sorry. This goes in the blooper reel. He had hidden a camera.
Watch out, camera!
I completely.